most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman.
5.911, where's your emergency?
Hello, there's someone knocking a lot of times in front of my house saying someone tried to kill them.
911 calls released from Saturday morning when police say a murder left 5 dead.
In my 27, pushing to 28 years at this police department, we never had anything like this happen before.
The most unprotected person in America is the black woman.
On January 7th, 2023, a quiet neighborhood off Deep River Road in High Point woke up to an unimaginable tragedy. Athalia Crayton, a 46-year-old Army veteran, was discovered dead in her home, but not only her 3 young children were also found shot dead. But what made this discovery even more chilling was that Athalia had reached out to the authorities before, reporting domestic troubles. Each time, the situation calmed, until it didn't end there and there was no going back. This is one of those stories that will leave you questioning everything. This is the story of Athalia Crayton. By the way, if you like the way I present these stories, or if true crime cases are your kind of thing, please like the video and consider subscribing to the channel for more stories. This story takes us all the way to High Point, North Carolina. Known for its furniture industry, it's a peaceful city with a mix of middle-class neighborhoods. But beneath the surface, High Point struggles with a crime rate higher than many U.S. cities. Violent crimes, although rare, have left their mark, and this case is no exception. What happened in Athalia Crayton's home was a tragic reminder that danger can strike anywhere. Athalia Crayton, or Art as her family and friends lovingly called her, was someone you couldn't help but admire. Born into a Jamaican-American family with roots in Kingston, Jamaica, she carried her vibrant heritage with pride. She grew up in Miami and South Carolina, places where she learned the values of resilience and ambition. Athalia's life was one of many chapters, each one adding to her remarkable story. But one of those chapters would turn her world upside down. She was a woman who wore many hats with ease. As a U.S. Army veteran, Athalia rose to the rank of sergeant in the 2nd Infantry Division. She served as a heavy equipment mechanic, which was a role that showcased her strength and determination. Yet, she wasn't just a soldier. Athalia was a certified life coach, an interior designer, a business owner, and a student at North Carolina A&T State University. She worked tirelessly to make her dreams a reality, and yet, despite all her successes, nothing mattered more to her than her 3 children. Her children were her life's greatest pride. Nasir, Nyla, and Kasim were not just her kids, they were her joy, her purpose, and her motivation to endure any hardship. Her niece once said she loved her kids so much that she would go through hardship just to make sure they flourished. This was the kind of mother she was, selfless, giving, and endlessly devoted. But one of the best things about Athalia was also one of her greatest vulnerabilities. She believed in family. She believed in love. That's why, despite the struggles, she stayed. Athalia was married to 45-year-old Robert Jeffrey Crayton Jr., a Hollywood actor who had once been the light of her life. Robert was a man raised in Brooklyn, New York, and had performed in films, plays, and events since childhood.
Hello, my name is Robert Crayton. I'm 36 years of age. I was a professional rapper. I'm an actor as well. I also do voiceovers and stand-up comedy. I look forward to working in all aspects of entertainment, and I love the everyday grind of continuing to grow in the entertainment business. I look forward to working with you.
It was in 2010 when Robert Crayton landed his first acting role on the true TV series Southern Fried Stings, where he played the character Tank. This marked the beginning of his journey as an actor. Over the years, his career expanded to include roles on TV shows, movies, commercials, and even voiceover work. Crayton was deeply passionate about acting, with a special fascination for the horror genre. According to his biography, his love for horror started in childhood, which is why many of the films he appeared in were centered on this genre. To the outside world, he was charming and talented, but inside their home, things were different. There were moments of peace in their household, moments when everything seemed normal, but then there were arguments. The police had been called to their home multiple times for domestic disruptions. Each time, things settled down for a while, but the cracks in their relationship were growing deeper. And while Athalia held on to hope, there were signs that things could take a darker turn. Athalia must have seen glimpses of it, but she stayed, hoping things would get better. She was holding her family together with everything she had. But what happens when the person you trust the most becomes the one you fear the most? In the days leading up to that tragic morning, there were no signs that their lives were about to change forever. Or maybe there were. January 7th, 2023, all that came crashing down. January 7th started as an ordinary morning in the quiet High Point neighborhood, but it quickly turned into a scene straight out of a nightmare. Just after 7 a.m., frantic 911 calls began pouring in. Neighbors on Mossy Meadow Drive reported two terrified individuals, a man and a woman, banging on doors pleading for help.
Hello, there's someone knocking a lot of times in front of my house saying someone tried to kill them.
The man is saying that it was his father. He said he's sure that he still has the gun.
He had woken up to find a gun pointed at his head. In a moment of sheer bravery or luck, he managed to pull the magazine out of the gun and escape. But the terror didn't end there. Right at that moment, the horrifying events inside the house were still unfolding. That was the moment when one of the neighbors called 911. But when officers arrived at the scene, the chaos outside gave way to an even darker reality inside. The home on Mossy Meadow Drive became the center of the city's attention, a crime so gruesome it would haunt everyone involved. Athalia Crayton, her 3 children, 10-year-old Nasir, 16-year-old Nyla, and 18-year-old Kasim, and her husband, Robert Crayton Jr., were all found dead. The investigators determined that it was a murder-suicide. Robert Crayton Jr., once a loving father and husband, had done the unthinkable. He had shot his wife and children before turning the gun on himself. But what drove Robert to commit such an atrocity? This was the question that loomed over everyone.
Once again, this is Robert Crayton. Hope you have a good day.
There was no definitive motive, no note, no explanation for why a man would destroy his own family.
I've expressed this to the family as we may never know why. What goes through the hearts and minds of a person that would do this sometimes dies with them, but we don't have any indication right now as to the why.
Athalia, who had spent her life giving everything to her family, had her life stolen in an instant. Her children, her pride and joy, were gone too. As the news spread, the entire community grappled with the weight of the tragedy.
It's very unfortunate to hear about what has happened here. This neighborhood is pretty quiet for the most part.
High Point police labeled it one of the deadliest crimes in the city that they have seen in nearly 2 decades.
27, pushing to 28 years at this police department, we never had anything like this happen before.
The loss was immeasurable. A mother, her children, and even the man who had once been a part of their happiest moments were now gone. The echoes of gunfire had shattered not just a home, but the hearts of everyone who knew them. In the days that followed, investigators worked tirelessly to piece together the events leading up to the crime. At a press conference, Lieutenant Patrick Welch from the High Point Police Department addressed the public. He explained that they were in close contact with the family and moving forward with the investigation, but some details were being held back to protect the integrity of their findings.
I do want to say that the investigation is moving forward very well and expeditiously. We have been in contact with the affected family and they are cooperating with us fully. And as the chief said, there is some information that we are going to hold back. That's just to protect the integrity of the investigation.
The announcement confirmed what they feared. Robert Crayton Jr. was the primary suspect. He had taken the lives of his wife, Athalia, and their 3 children before ending his own. But even with this confirmation, there were many questions unanswered. Why did this happen? Could it have been prevented? Upon further investigation, it was revealed that Robert had a history of mental illness and had been served an involuntary commitment order just a year earlier. His family had reached out for help before, hoping to manage his struggles, but it wasn't enough. He had been battling demons that no one could truly understand. And on that fateful day, those demons took control, changing the lives of everyone connected to this family forever. Neighbors recalled that the police had been called to the home multiple times over the years, starting as far back as 2014. There had been incidents in 2016, 2019, and most recently in January 2022, when the commitment order was served. Each time, the family tried to move forward, hoping for peace, but no one could have imagined how it would end. The Crayton family had been fighting a quiet battle behind closed doors, and on January 7th, the battle ended in heartbreak. A public memorial service was held in Greensboro to honor Athalia and her children. Friends, family, and community members gathered to celebrate her life and mourn her loss. Athalia was remembered as a loving mother, a committed wife, and a strong, resilient woman who had given everything for her family. Her memory became a symbol of love, but also a painful reminder of the cracks that can exist in a seemingly perfect home. Autopsies released later in the year shed no light on Robert's motive. The tragedy remained a mystery, a scar on the hearts of everyone involved. All that was left were speculations about his mental illness, the struggles he faced, and the warning signs that went unnoticed or unaddressed. If only someone had been able to intervene in time, maybe the story could have ended differently. As the investigation wrapped up, the Crayton family and their community were left with a void that could never be filled. Athalia's life, filled with so much promise and love, was cut short in the most unimaginable way. Her legacy lives on in the hearts of those who loved her, but the pain of her loss serves as a reminder of the fragility of life. Right at the moment when everything seemed stable, it all came crashing down, and in the aftermath, the world was left to wonder how such a tragedy could have happened, and what could be done to ensure it never happens again. While Athalia Crayton's tragic story was rooted in trust and betrayal, the next case reveals a similar pattern. This time, it's a picture-perfect couple whose glamorous life hid a shocking secret that would end in unimaginable tragedy. On November 6, 2021 at around 9 p.m., the calm of a Georgia neighborhood was shattered by horrifying screams. Two Atlanta influencers, 44-year-old Kiana Burns and her 46-year-old husband, Ronell Burns, were found dead in their home. Just hours earlier, Kiana had shared a joyful video, laughing and dancing with her child, and no one could have imagined how such a happy moment would soon spiral into tragedy. This is the story of Kiana Burns. This story takes us all the way to Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta is the bustling capital of Georgia and is the most populous city. While it is known for its vibrant culture and rich history, Atlanta also struggles with a crime rate higher than the national average. Violent crimes, including homicides, are not uncommon, painting a complex picture of the city's challenges. And in this case, even a picture-perfect couple wasn't spared from tragedy. Kiana Burns was born on September 15, 1977, in St. Louis, Missouri, a city where she built her dreams from the ground up. She was ambitious, hardworking, and determined to create the life she had always envisioned. Kiana graduated from Riverview Garden High School and later attended St. Louis Community College, where she majored in cosmetology. It was here that she discovered her passion for beauty and began carving out a future that would set her apart. With sheer determination, she opened her first beauty salon. It wasn't easy, but Kiana poured her heart and soul into her work. Over the next 20 years, her dedication paid off, and her small salon grew into one of the largest in St. Louis. She became a symbol of success, a woman who wasn't afraid to dream big and work even harder. But while her professional life flourished, her personal life was filled with challenges. Kiana was a mother to 3 children from previous relationships, and her family described her as a loving, devoted parent. She adored her children and worked tirelessly to provide them with a stable and happy life. But balancing motherhood with her growing business wasn't always smooth. Strong, independent, and driven, Kiana found it hard to meet someone who could match her energy and ambition. That was until she met Ronell Burns. Ronell born on May 14, 1975, in St. Louis, shared Kiana's drive and determination. He graduated from the High School of Fashion in 1994 and had a background in sports, playing basketball and even competing for a state championship. Ronell was competitive, ambitious, and always striving for greatness. When he met Kiana, he was already a father to 2 children from a previous relationship. Together, they blended their families and their dreams. In September 2012, Kiana and Ronell tied the knot in a glamorous wedding surrounded by friends and family. On the surface, they seemed like the perfect couple, 2 successful individuals coming together to create something even greater. But as the years passed, cracks began to form beneath their picture-perfect life. Ronell had a deep connection to his faith. He believed he was called to serve others and start preaching and coaching, using his voice to inspire people. He even created his own platform online, sharing motivational messages and videos. At the same time, he became a financial counselor and insurance agent, starting his own company to help others achieve financial independence. Kiana supported him wholeheartedly, and together, they built a brand that touched thousands of people.
I'm Ronell Burns, and this is my lovely wife, Kiana Burns.
Hi.
Today, we're going to talk to you about entrepreneurship and how it greatly benefited our life.
For those that don't know, my husband and myself, we've been entrepreneurs for the last 20 years. And our mission is to bring you guys along to become successful entrepreneurs as well.
The couple gained popularity on social media, where they shared their journey as entrepreneurs and mentors. They were often seen in luxurious settings, dressed in high-end fashion, and talking about their success. Kiana had 14,000 followers on Instagram, where she shared glimpses of her family life, inspirational quotes, and her business ventures. Ronell, too, had a growing audience using his platform to coach young entrepreneurs and inspire them to chase their dreams. But behind the curated posts and glamorous lifestyle, things weren't as perfect as they seemed. The couple had moved from their beloved St. Louis to Atlanta, a move driven by Ronell's ambition to expand their business. Kiana was hesitant. She loved her life in St. Louis, where she had built her empire and raised her children, but she gave in to Ronell's wishes, hoping the move would bring new opportunities. What it brought instead was isolation and struggle. In Atlanta, Kiana found herself starting over in a city that felt unfamiliar and lonely. She missed her family, her friends, and the stability she had in St. Louis. Her social media posts began to reflect the cracks in their perfect image. In one Facebook live stream, Kiana admitted she was struggling. She spoke candidly about the challenges of adjusting to a new life and the emotional toll it had taken on her.
For those that don't know, about 5-6 months ago, my husband and myself, we moved to Atlanta. Y'all, I'm telling you, if you don't stay prayed up and you don't keep faith, things can swivel in and take you out.
She asked her followers for prayers, saying things can change for better or worse overnight. If you're not strong enough, it can take you out. This moment changed everything for those who followed her journey. Kiana's vulnerability revealed that even the strongest people need help, but what her followers didn't know was how deeply those struggles ran. Behind the scenes, the couple's relationship was unraveling. Financial troubles, the pressure of maintaining their public image, and Ronell's alleged infidelities had created a rift that seemed impossible to bridge. Ronell, determined to expand their business and maintain their lavish lifestyle, had taken control of Kiana's salons. He wanted to create a chain of beauty salons in Atlanta to build their empire further, but his ambition came at a cost. The family was drowning in debt, owing over $500,000 to various banks. Kiana, who had to build her success through years of hard work, now found herself caught in a financial storm she couldn't control. Despite the turmoil, Kiana continued to share glimpses of joy on social media. Just hours before the tragedy, she posted a video dancing with one of her daughters. It was a moment of light in what had become a very dark time, but that video would be her last. In the early hours of November 6, 2021, everything came to a devastating end. It began with a long argument that night. a heated exchange that spiraled into something no one could have predicted. On November 6, 2021, in the Burns home on Valley Hall Drive in Atlanta, the calm of their picture-perfect life shattered forever. Inside their home, 44-year-old Kiana and 46-year-old Ronell faced the culmination of years of tension, financial strain, and personal betrayals. And then, it happened. 2 gunshots that echoed through the quiet neighborhood, leaving behind a silence that would haunt everyone who heard it. That's when the neighbors dialed 911 immediately. When the police arrived, neighbors had already gathered outside, murmuring in shock about the sounds of gunfire. Officers entered the home and were met with a tragic scene. Ronell's lifeless body was found in one room, and just steps away, Kiana's body lay motionless with a gun in her hand. The preliminary investigation suggested that Ronell had taken his own life, but as the pieces came together, it became clear it was the other way around. The decision had come from Kiana. Right at that moment, the world began to question what could push a woman like Kiana, so strong and driven, to such a breaking point. The answers were buried in the layers of their complicated life together. As authorities dug deeper, they uncovered troubling details: infidelities, financial woes, and a crumbling marriage masked by their social media facade. The Burns family had spent years presenting themselves as the epitome of success. Lavish posts of designer clothes, luxury cars, and dream vacations filled their feeds. Their online followers were captivated, inspired by the couple's story of entrepreneurship and ambition. But behind the scenes, the truth was far from glamorous. Financial records revealed a family drowning in debt, owing over $500,000 and scrambling to maintain their image. They had even filed for bankruptcy just a couple of years earlier. Beneath the financial strain was an even deeper fracture: their relationship. Ronell, once seen as a charismatic leader and loving partner, had betrayed Kiana in ways that cut deeper than any financial loss. Allegations of infidelity surfaced, with some claiming that his charm masked a pattern of manipulation and deceit. Kiana, who had built her life and career through sheer determination, was left to carry the weight of their collapsing world. The move to Atlanta had been a desperate attempt to start fresh, but for Kiana, it was anything but. She had left behind her beloved St. Louis, her family, her friends, and the stability she had worked so hard to create. In Atlanta, she found herself isolated, struggling to adjust in a city that felt foreign and lonely. The pressure of maintaining their image and the constant demands of their failing business only added to her stress. Weeks before the tragedy, Kiana went live on social media, her usual bright smile replaced by a look of exhaustion and sadness. She spoke candidly to her followers, asking for prayers and admitting that she was struggling to stay strong. "Life can change overnight," she said. "If you're not strong enough, it can take you out."
I just want to talk on her because you have to be prepared for life changes, no matter what it is that's taking place. And I'm trying to encourage someone, because things in your life can change for the good or the bad overnight, literally.
Her words, though heartfelt, hinted at a deeper pain, one that her followers could only guess at. That night, something inside Kiana snapped. Some speculated that it was the weight of their financial troubles. Others believed it was the betrayal she felt from Ronell's infidelities. Whatever the trigger, the result was devastating. The woman who had once inspired so many with her strength and perseverance had reached a breaking point, and the fallout would leave a trail of heartbreak. The next morning, news of the tragedy spread quickly, shocking their community and followers alike. People struggled to reconcile the image of the Burns family they had come to admire with the dark reality that had unfolded. Messages of disbelief and sorrow poured in on social media. Friends and colleagues remembered Kiana and Ronell as passionate and driven individuals who had touched countless lives. But their deaths raised a painful question: how could something so terrible happen to a couple who seemed to have it all? The couple's 8 children, left behind in the aftermath, now faced a future without their parents. The emotional toll on the family was immeasurable. Friends and relatives spoke of the devastating loss, describing Kiana as a loving mother and Ronell as a devoted father. But the cracks in their seemingly perfect life were no secret to those closest to them. Family members admitted that the couple had been struggling for years, but no one could have imagined it would end this way. The community rallied around the children, offering support and prayers. A funeral service was held to honor Kiana and Ronell, where family and friends gathered to mourn the loss of two lives that had once seemed so full of promise. Tears were shed, stories were shared, and amidst the grief, there was a collective hope that the children would find the strength to move forward. As the investigation concluded, the police confirmed that Kiana had taken Ronell's life before turning the gun on herself. The tragedy of Kiana and Ronell Burns left a mark that went far beyond their family. It sparked conversations about mental health, the pressures of social media, and the hidden struggles that so many face behind closed doors. Their story is a heartbreaking reminder that appearances can be deceiving, and that even those who seem to have it all can be fighting battles no one sees. What do you think about both cases? Could they have been avoided if the warning signs were noticed earlier? Or were these tragedies inevitable, given the circumstances? Let us know what you think in the comments section below.